Rudy Giuliani's rise to prominent national and world attention was elevated by his role as mayor of New York City during a time of heightened challenge that culminated in the fateful events of September 11, 2001. Giuliani stated in an ABC News interview that he was given warning of a collapse well in advance of the actual event.
Go immediately to the Office of Emergency Management?
I went down to the scene and we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street, which was right there with the police commissioner, the fire commissioner, the head of emergency management, and we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse. And it did collapse before we could actually get out of the building. So we were trapped in the building for 10, 15 minutes and finally found an exit and got out, walked north, and took a lot of people with us.
How come the people in the buildings weren't notified? And who else knew about this? And how do you sleep at night?
Ma'am, I didn't know that the towers were going to collapse.
You reported it to Peter Jennings. No.
You said on Peter Jennings on ABC
And
video,
also,
you indeed said that the towers, you were notified the towers were going to collapse while you were in, not sure exactly where you were prior to, but you said on ABC video with Peter Jennings in an interview that you were aware that towers were going to collapse in advance. We'd like to know who told you the towers were going to collapse in advance, sir, and also we'd like to know who else you told.
Well, the fact is that I didn't realize the towers would collapse. I never realized that. If I can complete the sentence, if you give me the courtesy to complete the sentence, our understanding was that over a long period of time, the way other buildings collapse, the towers could collapse, meaning over a 7, 8, 9, 10-hour period. No one that I knew of had any idea that they would implode. That was a complete surprise. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse, and it did collapse before we could actually get out of the building. So
Did it occur to you at all at that time that these buildings might actually collapse?
Yeah, but not the way they did. It occurred to all of us that they would ultimately collapse over the way buildings usually collapse, which is in stages.
Never before in the history of the world has a steel building collapsed due to fire.
I have not seen, until recently, a protected steel structure that has collapsed in a fire.
True infernos have raged hot and long in steel-framed buildings, but not one of the buildings ever came down. In February 2005, the Windsor Tower in Madrid, a skyscraper undergoing reconstruction, sustained a 20-hour fire. This is what was left, a standing building strong enough to support a crane. Compare a 20-hour inferno to 90 minutes of smoke.
After burning for 53 minutes, the South Tower collapsed in 11 seconds.
If Giuliani was told that the towers were going to collapse, as he says he was, why not relay that information onto the other emergency workers, firefighters, and police officers that were still trapped and engaged in saving people in those towers? Why not spare their lives by sharing that information and getting them out instead of allowing them to die